Okay, welcome back. We are in week 7, lesson 2, continuing to talk about interpersonal relationships. And today we're going to focus on boundaries, stress, and autoimmune health. Okay. So today we're really focusing on boundaries and what they are, how they affect our health, and how to begin using them to support healing. So, for many women living with autoimmune disease, boundaries are both essential and often really difficult due to past trauma, conditioning, or people pleasing patterns. So, today's lesson will really help us to begin to shift that. Boundaries, what are they, right? Well, they are personal limits that define what's okay and what's not okay in relationships and daily life. They can be emotional, which might be like how much you share. They can be physical, which is more about like your body and your space. Or they can be time-based, how you spend your energy. Boundaries are not walls, they are clarity and care in action. When boundaries are unclear or frequently crossed, it adds to chronic stress. So, for those of us with autoimmune illness, our bodies are already working really hard. And poor boundaries create a lot more tension and more inflammation. So, healthy boundaries allow your system to rest and heal and feel emotionally safe. When boundaries are violated, when we say yes, but we mean no, or we stay in environments that don't feel safe to us, the nervous system enters a state of alert. Over time, this increases sympathetic activation, which is that fight or flight response, right? Keeping the body in stress mode, which further fuels autoimmune symptoms and flares. Research shows that chronic stress leads to increased cytokine production, which leads to inflammation, suppressed immune regulation, and worsened autoimmune symptoms. Boundary stress is often invisible but constant. So each micro stressor adds up, and boundary setting can begin to reverse this cycle, right? So, all that to say, if your body's already dealing with a lot of stress, right, and then you have people that are not respecting your boundaries or you have a hard time setting them, you're making that stress on your body a whole lot worse. Many women are taught to care for others at their own expense, right? This conditioning shows up as people pleasing, which can look like avoiding conflict, overcommitting to things, or just hiding and suppressing our own wants and needs. And these patterns might be so deeply ingrained in you that they just feel normal, but they are keeping you stuck in chronic stress cycles. So every time that we betray our own limits, our nervous system registers it as a threat. And over time, this can lead to shutdown, exhaustion, resentment, or even dissociation, because this internal stress directly impacts our vagus nerve functioning, our digestion and gut health, and of course, our autoimmune and inflammatory regulation. So, um, how do we identify where boundaries are needed? Well, to begin, just notice what feels draining, frustrating, or unsafe. When do you feel tense or exhausted after interacting with someone? These are all really important clues. Your body is wise. It will show you where the boundaries are needed before your mind even catches up. So, again, just really attune to your body and notice how you feel after certain interactions with certain people or certain environments. That is a really big clue to where your boundaries might really be lacking. Boundaries don't have to be aggressive. Um, there are ways to do this that are in line with your true self, right? If you know that you are a kind and empathetic person, right? And most of us are, that's what leads to people pleasing, right? Um, but that's in line with who you truly are. That's okay. There's a way to do this that is assertive but not aggressive. So try saying things like, I'm sorry, I'm not available for that today, or I need a little time to think about that, or I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me right now. These are very clear and respectful boundaries that are safe for both you and the other person, right? And they're safe for your nervous system to register. Many of us fear rejection, guilt, or confrontation, but boundaries are not rejection, they are honesty. They create room for a deeper connection. So, reframing boundaries as a way to protect your health and preserve your energy can help to shift that fear, right? Remember this: someone who truly loves you and supports you is not going to have a problem with you setting a boundary for yourself that promotes your well-being, right? The only people that will ever have a problem with you setting a healthy boundary in that relationship is people that were taking advantage of you not having any boundaries, okay? So keep that in mind. Think of one small boundary that would make your life more peaceful. So maybe it's asking for some quiet time or some time to yourself. Maybe it's saying no to something that you don't want to do. Maybe it's just being more direct in talking about how you feel or what bothers you. Write it down. That's a great way to kind of reflect on it and then consider how you might communicate it in a way that is calm and kind and clear. Clear is kind, right? Again, setting boundaries is really just communicating to someone else, I'm trying to tell you how to love me better, right? I'm trying to tell you how to support me better. Okay, so let's close this lesson with reflection. Imagine being deeply respected, not just by others, but by yourself, right? That's important. What would change in your body, in your schedule, in your relationships, right? When we respect our limits, we build the foundation for healing and wholeness. So, again, not a long lesson today, but a really important one. So make sure you check out the companion worksheet. Again, just kind of dives deeper into boundaries and how we can go about setting them in healthy ways and in ways that feel manageable to us, right? Like you get to start small. You don't have to just go out tomorrow and start telling people no and being very assertive. It's okay to do this in a way that feels manageable for you. So you're doing great. Keep up the good work, and I will see you in our next lesson.